September 30th is Orange Shirt Day. On this year, I pledge to raise awareness.
I pledge to raise awareness about the injustices that have occurred and are continuing to occur against the Indigenous community.
I pledge to raise awareness about the murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls throughout the country.
I pledge to raise awareness on the colonial systems that have held back our Indigenous peoples.
I pledge to honor.
I pledge to honor the lands of the Indigenous communities.
I pledge to honor the Orange Shirt Day by engaging with the Ontario Tech community about truth and reconciliation in Canada with Indigenous people.
I pledge to honor all the children that have lived, suffered, or died in residential schools.
I pledge to honor Canada's colonial history by recognizing the disparities it's caused for many of its population.
I pledge to learn.
I pledge to learn and educate myself on the pre-colonial traditions of the Indigenous peoples.
I pledge to learn about Indigenous culture and how to be respectful.
I pledge to learn about various Indigenous cultures in Canada by participating in various events around campus.
I pledge to remember.
I pledge to remember because every child matters.
I pledge to remember how our shared history impacts us still to this day and work towards making amends.
I pledge to remember the abuse and injustice that Indigenous people endured for many years under the colonial regime.
I pledge to remember that we are all treaty people in Canada. At Ontario Tech, we reside under the Williams Treaty.
I pledge to support.
I pledge to support the spreading of peace, love, and respect between Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people of Canada.
I pledge to support survivors of colonial violence by uplifting their voices and sharing resources and education with my community.
I pledge to support Indigenous communities for their battle for justice.
I pledge to support past and current generations of the Indigenous community. They have endured discriminations for years and should be honored for their cultural traditions and values.
I pledge to support the local Indigenous communities in my area and the grassroots movements that they're working on.